USC overcomes a horrific start to roll Colorado and improved to 9-1 on the year. Caleb Williams continues his Heisman campaign, and Travis Dye's college career comes to an abrupt and heartbreaking end. We'll talk about all of that and more on this week's Trojan Game Review. Hey guys, welcome into this week's game review. What a crazy weekend of college football, particularly in the Pac-12. You had Oregon losing, UCLA losing to Arizona at home, which was kind of hilarious. And obviously you had USC take down Colorado Friday night in the Coliseum. So we control our own destiny now. You beat UCLA and you are in the Pac-12 championship game. And believe me, those Bruins would love nothing more than to beat USC and ruin our season. But getting back to the Colorado game, it was a bittersweet win for sure. USC lost Travis Dye for the rest of the season in this one. Now, if you have watched this channel for really any amount of time, you would know that Travis is my favorite player on this team, and I know he's a lot of your guys' favorite player as well. And just talking about this from the human side, my heart absolutely breaks for Travis. He came to USC to play in these huge games against UCLA and Notre Dame, and him not having the opportunity to play in those games is really unfortunate. It's really crazy when you think about it. He's only been at USC for less than a calendar year, and it feels like he's been a Trojan his entire life. He's the definition of fight on, and just look at this picture. This perfectly captures the impact Travis had on this team. He will be missed both off the field and on. Now, talking about the football perspective, we would absolutely not be 9-1 without Travis Dye. He's one of the best running backs in the country, and he's had a phenomenal season up to this point. Austin Jones, Rayleigh Brown, and Darwin Barlow are really going to have to step up in the coming weeks. They look great against Colorado, but, well, it's Colorado. So I just feel awful for Travis Dye. He's a Trojan through and through. I can't wait to see him tear it up at the next level. Now, so far this season, there have been multiple comments by coaches and players that imply that Travis Dye is a true leader of this offense, which makes sense. He's older than Caleb, he has more playing experience than Caleb. And after the Travis Dye injury, I thought we really saw Caleb grab this team by the throat and really become the true leader. He has a lot more on his plate now, and he's going to have to really grow up and step up in these last few weeks. And I have zero doubt that he will do just that. Alright guys, having said all that, let's dive into the review, and as always, we'll start with the offense. So coming out of that first quarter, I was absolutely fuming. It was clear that USC did not have their heads in the game early on. They were out of sync, sloppy, and just overall terrible. That was the worst we have seen this offense look so far this season. Caleb threw a bad ball to Brendan Rice that got picked off. Brendan has to fight harder though to knock that ball down, but despite the offense looking more disinterested, inept, and out of sync than any of us could have imagined, I had zero doubt that Lincoln and Caleb would snap out of it and get things rolling, which is truly a testament of how far things have come in a calendar year. In the Clay Helton years, if the team came out slow or had an early turnover, you just felt like the game was over. And in the second quarter, we saw the offense wake up and start to take over the game. Caleb Williams had a pair of rushing touchdowns down on the goal line that was great to see. With the loss of Travis Dye, I get the feeling Caleb is going to become much more of a running threat down in the red zone. Jordan Addison did finally return to action in this one, but it felt like much more of a ramp-up game for him. He only caught one ball in this one, and it was on that very first drive. I thought it was smart to not overuse him in this game. Hopefully he will be a full go for UCLA this week. Brendan Rice made up for his lack of fight earlier in the game with an outstanding contested catch touchdown. He has yet to put together a dominant performance throughout an entire game, but his flashes are so exciting. He still needs to be more consistent, but it's clear he has the trust of both Caleb and the coaching staff. Kyle Ford really stepped up early in this one, and in many ways was the boost this offense needed when it was sputtering. That 3rd and 23 comes to mind as a massive play early on that kept that drive going. If you just look at the stat sheet, no one will really stand out as having some incredible monster performance. It was balanced and a lot of guys got involved, which I think was great to see. Another one of those guys was Rayleigh Brown. We have been talking about Rayleigh on this channel for a while now, and he looked absolutely electric in this one. It's just different when he gets his hands on the ball. I feel like he has been struggling with confidence a bit lately, and with Travis going down, his role is only going to get bigger, so a performance like this can do wonders for a young player like Rayleigh. It was great to see him get in the end zone, and he just looked so explosive in this one. It was also great to see Austin Jones reestablish some of that early season form. As the new number 1 back, he really needs to shift into a different gear for these last few games. He was really seeing the field well in this game. He had great awareness on that no-look shovel pass from Caleb that he scored on. The main key for Austin is going to be consistency in the pass protection game. In that middle stretch of the season, we really saw him struggle there, so hopefully he's improved on that. We don't want Caleb taking any massive shots. Darwin Barlow is a name that has popped up in my comment section a few times this season, wanting him to play more and have a bigger role in the offense. Whenever he plays, he flashes. His running style is also very appealing to watch. He's smooth, has great vision, and when he gets in the open field, he can really pull away from defenders. Anyone who has been wanting him to get more run is probably going to get their wish in these coming weeks. Do you guys remember in the last 3 years or so when the preseason Heisman odds would come out? Keaton Slovis would be top 10, going into 2019 JT was high on that list, and then by week 2 or 3 they were out of it. Well, we're 10 games in and Caleb is really in the thick of it. I mean, he's really in this thing, guys. If he plays at the same level he has been for the last 2 or 3 games, he's a lock to be in New York. And who knows, at this rate he might just go ahead and win the damn thing. I'd also like to point out that we got to see Miller Moss in this one, which is great for him and for this USC team. We are very lucky to have a backup like Miller. Go around the country and look at what other teams' backup quarterback situations are. Look at what Oklahoma has on their roster. Look at Arkansas this week against LSU. I mean, there's some real rough backup QB situations out there. We're very lucky. Alright, so moving over to the defense. Now, there's not much to talk about here. If you remember during the preview, I said that anything good that the defense does needs to be taken with a big grain of salt, because the Colorado offense is so horrible, so inept, you can't really take much from it. And I know some of you would ask how we can take anything away from the offense's performance if we're going off that logic, but the offense has earned the benefit of the doubt. They've been shredding everybody. This defense is on the flip side of that. So we'll try to sift through this performance and take what we can from it. One thing we do know is that Kalen Bullock is a very special player. He made another outstanding interception, covering a ton of ground as he made a great play on the ball right on the sideline. I mean, part of me wants him to come down and play more in the box and play more man coverage, but the other part of me sees his value in that center field role. Okay, let's dive into the Corey Foreman talk. This was the first game in Corey's career where he stood out on the screen. He was making plays in the run game, finishing the game with 3 tackles, including 1 tackle for loss. Corey seems like the type of player where when he sees his hard work pay off with success on the field, that his confidence is only going to grow and he will really start to come into form. Obviously, that's just speculation, but we've seen that with players before. Sometimes a breakthrough performance on game day is all it takes to unlock a player. What a welcome addition that would be. Let's hope that's the case. Did anyone notice number 9 come into the game late in that 4th quarter? That's right, we had a Rajon Davis sighting. And I don't know about you all, but when he came on the field, he really stood out to me. His athleticism, his speed. I mean, I am just dying to see this guy get some legit playing time. It really seems like that skill set is missing from our linebacking core, especially with Eric Gentry out. CV and Shane Lee are both kind of the same player. I just would love to see him get on the field more. What can I possibly say about Thule at this point? The guy is just a monster, leading the nation in sacks with 11.5. He got 2.5 sacks in this game, including a strip sack. He batted a ball down as well. He's the best player on this defense, especially when he's playing at home in the Coliseum. His home and road splits are crazy. He's just having an overall phenomenal year. He's for sure going to be an All-American. Now, there is one big question left with this defense, and it's, will Eric Gentry play? We need him back desperately. There is a direct correlation from when he got hurt and this defense absolutely fell apart. We just need him back in the worst way possible. But overall, a pretty good day from the defense. They did what they were supposed to do, and that's all I have to really say about that. Alright, now just some final thoughts. Alright guys, it's here. It's UCLA week. Another stop on the revenge tour for SC. We can't afford to come out and start that game the way we started against Colorado. We will lose. And can we all agree that UCLA losing to Arizona the week before they play USC and potentially the biggest game since 1988 is the most UCLA thing ever? If there's one thing they're really good at, it's screwing things up for everybody else. Alright guys, that'll do it for this week's game review. I'll have a basketball video up Wednesday recapping the first 3 games of the year. But until then, thank you all so much for listening. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Fight on. I almost feel bad at this point. Boomer.